What's up guys, welcome back to the shop and another all balls racing how-to video. Today we're going to be talking about wheel spacers. In addition to that, we're going to be going over what they are, because they kind of sound like one of those things like blinker fluid. Is it real? Yeah, of course. These go on your bike in a very important spot and they do a very important job. We're also going to tell you guys how to tell if your current wheel spacers are bad, why you might need new ones. In my case, we have this 2004 RM250 here. Ours were straight up missing, so thank God that All Balls actually makes wheel spacers for these, because most of the time, especially with these older bikes, the wheel spacer, that part number is going to be obsolete. You're not going to be able to get it anymore. So very cool that they're reproducing these. Not only that, but there are actually some very cool features inside these wheel spacers. I know what you're thinking, they're just wheel spacers. How cool could it be? But when I was doing a test fit on these, I found out something that I've never ever seen in a wheel spacer before, and I'm really excited to show these to you. Now with this RM250, I'm utilizing All Balls Racing front and rear wheel spacers. Again, thank God they make these things. Part numbers on this particular bike, 11-1055-1. That's going to be for the front, and the rear is 11-1049-1. That'll cover all RM250s 2001 through 2008 when they stopped making them, and on one of the kits, you'll have to do your homework, actually goes back a little bit older, so you'll see it on the website. Now, once we go over the special feature I mentioned in these wheel spacers, we're also going to install them. I've got a brand new wheel set here for this RM250, so that's absolutely perfect. These spacers were the missing link. We'll go ahead and start with why you might need spacers. I already mentioned that ours were just missing, so we needed some, but if you take a really close look at your old spacers, your OEM ones if you have them and you're doing a bike build, something like that, if you take a really close look, you might find that the seals in your hub have actually eaten their way through your old wheel spacers, and at that point they're no longer good. Elements can get in, water, dirt, you name it, mud, so these would be in a prime state for replacing. These are basically junk. Let's go ahead and jump into the install for these wheel spacers, and I'm also going to bust out my caliper so we can get some more technical information for those of you who really want it. We're going to measure these in millimeters so you can see if this particular kit I'm talking about is right for you. All right, here we are on the bench. We've got our brand new All Balls Racing wheel spacers, the front, these big boys here, and then we have the rears. I also have some freshly zinc plated axles for this 04 RM250. I'm going to tell you what wheel spacers do, what they're for, if you're not familiar. Then we're going to do our test fits, our measurements. I'm going to show you how to install them, and then also the badly grooved OEM rear spacer that I have here. So first things first, wheel spacers, of course, you've probably figured they're going to go on your axle, like so. Look at the fit on that. I can barely slide this thing down. Not because the metal's dragging, but because of that cool feature I want to show you. These wheel spacers are going to plug into the hub of your motorcycle, and they're going to keep the wheel where it needs to be inside the bike's chassis, between the front forks, between the swing arm and the rear. So very crucial role they play, of course. We'll go ahead and check the fit on the rear, and it feels exactly like the front. These do the same thing. Keep that wheel centered right where it's supposed to be. Now some wheel spacers, not these in particular, on this RM250, they are completely interchangeable. Left to right, they're the same size. That's the same with the rear. On some bikes, the spacers are actually longer or shorter on one side, so you'll need to pay attention to that, because if you put them in reverse of each other, you could actually offset your wheel, and you'll be able to tell the wheels simply won't go in. Your brake rotor might not go into the caliper properly, so just flop your spacers around, change sides, and you should be good to go. Let's take a quick look at the damage here. You guys can see the gigantic groove in this OEM spacer here. Now that is, like I said earlier, from the seal in the hub just wearing it down. You can actually see two grooves inside this spacer from the double-lipped seal in the hub. Here is a brand new All Balls Racing part. You can see it's got a nice shoulder on it, and it even has a little lip there to help keep the spacer retained inside the second lip of the hub seal. Very nice. Let's go ahead and bust out our calipers, do a little bit of measurement, then I'm going to show you that special feature inside the wheel spacer. Actually kind of blew my mind. I thought it was really awesome. So rear axle on the RM, I know it's a 22. I've got a 22 mil here, dead on, maybe just a little bit over. Caliper might not be perfect, they usually aren't. Get an All Balls one here, and They're actually a little bit tighter, probably just because they're new. They're also 22. We had a 2211 and a 2206 on the all balls. So spot on like OEM. Also super nice black anodized finish over aluminum. And then I don't have any fronts to measure here, obviously, because ours are just straight up missing. But if you're an RM250 guy, you've got a 20 millimeter front axle. This is measuring at a 20.04. So spot on. Now, you guys may have seen these sort of drag when I put them onto the axles earlier. And that's because there's a freaking O-ring inside. There's a groove inside the spacer, and All Balls Racing has a O-ring dropped into that groove. So freaking cool. So it wasn't metal on metal you guys were hearing earlier. There's a little O-ring, and when you grease your axle, this is going to slide real nice. But there's an O-ring, you can kind of hear that, on the inside of that spacer. So not only do you have a nice lip seal here where it's going to go into the hub seal, but you also have a freaking O-ring inside the spacer itself. That is so stinking cool. I've never seen that on any bike. Maybe it exists. Maybe I'm not super worldly, but that's one of the coolest things I've seen on a simple part like this in a long time. So stoked they make them, and I'm even more stoked on the O-ring. Something else that's really cool about these spacers is that, like I said earlier, spacers are becoming obsolete for these old bikes. Recently needed spacers for a 1997 YZ125, which has long since been an extinct dirt bike. All Balls makes the part. Unbelievable. We got spacers, rotors, caliper, pistons, you name it. So if you guys are getting your chassis rebuilt, check out All Balls Racing, and they have so much stuff for your motorcycle, especially those really old ones. All right, guys, now it's time to install these wheel spacers. Show you how they go in. Like I said, I got a brand new wheel here. Gorgeous wheel ready for this build. So we've got our brand new wheel here, and install is really easy, although there is something you need to watch out for. As mentioned, we've got brand new seals inside the hub here, and all you need to do, very easy, get yourself a little bit of waterproof grease and dab it onto either the seal or the spacer. The seal might be a little bit more clean. It's totally up to you. No wrong answers here. And that's going to help the spacer go into place. Now, as we mentioned, there's a little lip or a ridge on the end of your new spacer there. You want to make sure that when you install this, you sort of pull the seal open, pressurize the seal with your hand, if you will, and pull the thing open while you rotate this in. That's because there is a lip that comes upward all the way around the outside of the wheel spacer. And sometimes if you just take this thing and you jam it in there, not always, but if you just take this and shoot it in without sort of posturing it first, you can fold that lip seal in, and what's going to happen is as your wheel starts to turn, the seal's going to lose its lip. It's going to sort of get ground off or cut off, or if the new part is sharp enough, it can even cut it before you even start riding. So just ID around the edges here, make sure the lip seal is actually up and against that spacer and not sucked in. So it should look something like that when you are all done. Not only did that fit perfectly and all the measurements check out, but I'm really liking the black on that too. If you're doing a bike build and you got colors you need to consider, that really helps you play it safe. Also, it looks amazing, just fresh, brand new, all black. This is gonna look so good on our RM build. We'll go ahead and do that one more time. Very straightforward. You guys got it down, I'm sure. But again, a little bit of waterproof grease. Get that dabbed in there. And then drop your spacer in. Again, don't fold the seal lip in. I'm pulling it to the side a little bit. You can even give this a spin if you want to lubricate this sucker real quick. And I can see that that seal lip is out and where it's supposed to be, all the way around the spacer. So after this, if your wheels are built, obviously we need tires and tubes and strips and locks and all that still. Go ahead and throw that sucker on your bike. It's ready to go. Now when you go ahead and install your wheel, apply some of that same waterproof grease to your axles. That's going to help not only things not corrode while you're riding, keep things nice and clean inside and operating properly, but it's also going to help you slide your axle through that rubber lip inside the seal, which, like I said, I'm so stoked on that. It's such a silly little thing, but that's really going to help seal the weather out, not only on this side of the spacer, but on the side where it normally would be sealed out already by the hub seal. Awesome job, All Balls Racing. This is one of your smallest products and probably one of my favorite products that you make, if you can believe it. All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's video. Hopefully short, hopefully sweet. I know that it will be elementary for some of you guys, but many others may not even know that All Balls Racing makes a replacement wheel spacer. And like I said, I'm stoked. I did not have any. That was gonna have me on eBay or MX Locker, finding some beat up used ones that were probably already grooved, like our old ones, in which case then you have to try and refinish them, etc. For example, we stripped the anodizing out of these old ones, vapor blasted them, but still, they look better, but they're still grooved and they're just not right. The rest of the project is turnkey perfect and these are junk. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out All Balls Racing for engine rebuild kits, brake pads, caliper rebuild kits, fuel petcock kits, you name it, wheel spacers. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.